I just started hitting the streets and trying to get people to do, believe in me and believe in what I was doing. And 30 years later, man, I'm the credit card lady.
Whether you're a seasoned vet of the payments industry or a brand new rookie who just heard the term dual pricing for the first time, you're in the right place. This is the only podcast that shares the strategies and stories behind selling merchant services. Welcome to AgentFirst.
All right, welcome to the AgentFirst podcast. Excited to be here today with the wonderful, the awesome Mary Hogue. Mary and I have been friends for a long time, and I always remind everybody, Mary, this podcast is meant to tell your story. That's why it's called the AgentFirst podcast. We're here to try to inspire others, let your story be told, because you have an amazing story, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it. So welcome. Love having you here.
Thank you for the invite. I'm honored to be here. Like so many others, I never thought that I would be here. And when I got the invite, I was very honored to, for you guys to invite me out here.
Well,
so thank you so much for that.
We're honored to have you here. To have you here. So let's kick it off and just, no one grows up and says they're you're in first grade, second grade, and you do a little worksheet that says, what do you want to be when you grow up? People say, I want to be a veterinarian, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, MBA player. Nobody says I want to be, I want to sell credit card processing when I get older, right? But here we are, right? And so there's always this awesome story of how we got here. So let's hear your story. Tell the story of Mary Hogue and how you got here.
Well, let's start off with, in the payment processing world, how I got here was a friend of mine. She was selling Discover. That was way back when we had those old knuckle busters, which I still have one in my office. She was selling Discover payment processing, and I was selling check services. Back then, people would use more checks than credit cards. And I would refer business to her, and I saw how much money she was making. I wasn't making that money, and intrigued me. And that was kind of like when I got bit. I want to know more about how you are making all that money, and I'm not making any money. I want to know your story.
Right.
And so she wouldn't share any secrets. She would not share anything with me. We actually broke up after she found out that I was doing this.
Oh, wow.
And, but yeah, it was a lot of hurdles. I used to go from job to job to job. Mm-hmm. I had, anywhere from, I was an accountant.
Okay.
I was working at a hotel, and sometimes I would have my husband and my kids stay 30 days when we were doing audit.
Oh, wow.
I was that person that had a big
at
old...
the hotel?
At the hotel,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We had restaurant, bar, pool, cleaning services and everything. So we lived almost a 30-mile one-way, and instead of them going back and forth, just got rooms at the hotel, and we hung out there, especially during audit.
Yeah.
Audit was, I couldn't leave during audit.
Yeah.
And I was that person that, kid you not, I had a ponytail, no makeup, come in, do my job 8 to 5, open my door, close the door, nobody come in, talk to me. I didn't like people, I didn't like talking to people, do payroll, do all that good stuff. And it got bought, got laid off. Okay. So I really wasn't a people person, let's just say that. Never in a million years. Never in a million years.
That's shocking to hear. This is the person I know you now.
Yeah. And went from another job. I started selling at Labor Ready at that time. It was
temp service.
Yes, temp service. Yeah. Yes. And I worked myself out of a job.
Okay.
Got a lot of contracts.
Yeah.
And but there was a friend of mine who saw something in me. This was right after I had lost a few jobs, and I'm not a salesperson. She saw something in me. It was Donna Satterfield.
Okay.
Man, she just would not quit.
Yeah.
And it was back then when, and this is before Labor Ready, I kind of stepped over it, but it was right after I'd gotten laid off from the hotel, and she was one of our guests. She was one of our customers. And she just always, we friended each other, and then she bought it's called the phone store.
Okay.
This is when cell phones, flip phones, and all that stuff.
All the stores.
She wanted,
pagers and stuff like that.
Yeah, she wanted me to come sell for her. I'm like, I'm not that person. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. Well, I'm desperate for a job, and she told me how much money I could make and all this other stuff. So that was my first sales job.
Yeah.
And never in a million years would I have thought I could have been a salesperson.
Right.
And then their store closed. They had partnership issues. They ended up closing. And then I went to Labor Ready, worked myself out of a job. I got really good at it. I'd have to literally go in at 6 o'clock in the morning, punch a time card in my pajamas, and then come back at 3 o'clock and clock out. But I couldn't work because we didn't have enough laborers to do all the jobs. Oh, wow. So after about a year and a half, they laid me off. Took another job, created a job at one of the local hospitals who had a linen service, and they wanted to contract their facilities out. And at that time, they were doing a 6 to 2 Monday through Friday. 6 months later, after me doing a sales thing for them, they asked me if I wanted to be in sales. A good friend of mine again asked me to come out and if I would help them go out and sell some contracts. They wanted to make it a business. I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Created a position for me. I go to San Antonio, got the hospitals in San Antonio, all the rural areas. 6 months later, worked myself out of a job. They went from 6 to 2 Monday through Friday to 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days.
Wow.
And they're still going.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was just like job after job after job.
Yeah.
I found my niche. I knew I was good at selling, but I needed to find something that I wasn't going to work myself out of a job again. And I remembered, how my friend was doing that. So I actually inquired about it myself, just signed up, self-educated. Yep. I fell on my face many times, many times. And my first paycheck after about 3 months of work was like $2.30.
Sounds familiar.
And but I liked it. I knew where it was going to go with it, and a lot of it is kind of like just not believing in yourself. It's like a friend of mine told me, I was telling them that it was like these little whispers, like telling me just keep going, because a lot of your like common knowledge would tell you you can't eat on, like, you got to feed your family, you got to help with the bills, you got to do all this other stuff, and I was telling him, like, these whispers were coming at me, like just telling me to stay focused, keep going, there's a prize, and I found out that they said that it wasn't a whisper, it's the Holy Spirit.
There you go.
It's the Holy Spirit talking to me, guiding me, and putting me in that lane that I needed to go down.
Right. And
of course there was a lot of challenges, and there was not knowing exactly what was at the end of that road there, and we had, Danny and I, oh my gosh, there was at one time we didn't know about this. Have you ever heard of kiting? Checks? Yeah. So in order for us to make our finances work, Danny would write me a check for like $1,000, right? And we knew it'd hit the bank in 3 days. So I would give him a check to cover that $1,000, right. And we were bouncing those checks back and forth to make sure we weren't. So we would like write $1,000 check, just to make us last the month, for groceries.
In there. Yeah.
Next thing I know, the bank calls us and they shut down our bank accounts because they called it kiting, and we didn't know that was against the law, And so we were struggling hardcore, there was like a lot of bologna sandwiches and, trying to figure out how we're going to get gas money going back and forth, get the kids fed, and especially me doing this job that was just minimal pay at the beginning, and it took probably a good, year and a half for me to finally get a good paycheck because I still didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And so I just started hitting the streets and trying to get people to do, believe in me and believe in what I was doing. And 30 years later, man, I'm the credit card lady, in Abilene, Texas, and everybody knows me.
I love that.
And so there's there's so much in between that. I guess these experiences on on my journey have been just so memorable of getting there. Right. There is one of the bars that we used to frequently visit. We love dancing.
Just to say hi, right?
Yeah,
just to say hi.
Yeah. Yes. And I worked on them. I think that was one of my biggest accomplishments ever, I think, because it took him almost 15 years to finally go with me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I finally got him, 3 bars.
I think that's the
And
longest one I've ever heard of. Yeah.
It's kind of like, just don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up. I mean, it's in your pipeline.
Right.
You know, one day, just keep going.
Keep
Just
stomping
keep going. Just keep chopping at it. You know, they just stay in their face. Yeah. And there's a few others, you know, not as long, but that was my biggest one that I just finally, they're with me. And they have been with me ever since.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Nobody's leaving Mary Hogue.
They believe, you know, in you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest valuable lesson that you need to understand, you know, is you don't go out there to sell payment processing. You don't go out there, you know, to try and win them over, you know, as an account. You go in there as a family.
Yes.
You know, you genuinely care about their business and their success. And they need to feel that that's what you're doing for them, is you're coming in, helping them in the way that they don't understand. You know, I'm an expert at doing what I do. You're an expert at running the bar. Let me help you make as much money for that bar or restaurant or whatever it is.
Right.
And it was the community that finally started embracing, you know, who I was. And little by little, you know, this little town, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like you got to be part of a church.
Yeah.
You got to own a donut shop. You got to do it all, right? But it's all about who you know over there. And I finally started getting accepted with what I was doing, and referrals started coming in, and people, you know, believing in what I do, and it just kind of like just kept plugging away, you know, and knowing our family. Everybody knows our family. Yep. You know, we're part of the racing community. One of the biggest churches, Beltway. So it's lining up your family, lining up, you know, your success, but more importantly is placing it in God's hands. You know,
that's cool.
To take it where it needs to go, whether it's good, bad, in between, whatever, but just trust the process.
Yeah.
Never in a million years I'd be, like you said, what did I want to be when I grew up? The credit card lady? Never saw that one coming.
Right? Never saw that one coming. I guess I've never asked you this. I'm not sure. Have you always lived in the Abilene area?
Yes.
Okay, so
my whole life.
Born and raised there.
Well,
okay.
I was born in Lubbock. My mom was on vacation when she went into labor with me.
Okay.
And I was born December 27th, Christmas vacation.
Yep.
And then, so she had me over there, and then we came back home. But yeah, my birth certificate says born in Lubbock, Texas, but I've been in Abilene, Texas my whole life.
Always in Abilene. Okay.
Always in Abilene.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an inspiring story, and I think a story a lot of people relate to. You know, this podcast and agents I talk to all the time is people didn't think they were ever going to be in sales, right? And I think you would agree with me that while we do some sales activity, we're not really in sales, right? We're in, I think you mentioned it earlier, we're in the relationship business, right? And I think you've done an amazing job of that. It takes time to build that reputation, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen overnight, especially in a small community where people come in from Dallas and try to sell some stuff, and then they disappear and you never see them again. They can, you know, people have to trust you. They have to know that you're going to be around. You're going to, you know, and I think for you, I think the important thing is that, you know, keeping your reputation intact, right? Because you are in a small town and you're going to run into, you know, the business owner, if you wrong them or you lie to them or you mistreat them, you're going to see them at the grocery store. You're going to see them at church. You're going to see them at the ball game, right? You're not going to be able to escape that. And I think it's even more, I guess I would say, important in those smaller communities to do that the right way.
It is. It is. I mean, rumors are the worst killer of a business, you know? Yeah. And in our little small community, our little town that, you know, a little bitty airport, you know, but it really can hurt you if you even do one person wrong. Yeah. So you got to be genuine. Just be real. Don't overpromise, underdeliver. Yeah. Just make it exactly what it is. Yeah. And be honest 1,000%. Yep. And if they don't trust you right out of the gate and they go with somebody else, that's okay. There's another one coming along, you know, and sometimes they do come back to me.
Right?
Yeah, they'll do come back to me. There's plenty to go around.
Exactly.
You know, so your success is everything that you make it out to be. You just got to believe. Right. You know, you got to believe in the process and believe in yourself. Yeah. And believe that God's going to get you through it all the way.
There you go. I wonder, I never thought about this till right now, is your you know, in our industry, obviously we do, there's a lot of numbers, right? We're looking at fractions of pennies and basis points and tenths of percentages and all that good stuff. And is any of that, your background in accounting, has that helped you in that regard, being able to understand that? Or what do you feel like?
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I never thought about that. I love numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
That is one of the things I love more than anything is I've always been a numbers person.
Right.
So I guess that's kind of like an advantage that I have is, you know, pushing numbers, putting numbers through when they ask me, you know, about how percentage-wise, thinking about how it'll be imperative for their business to run certain numbers to take advantage of these situations to help them, you know, cut costs, cut back or whatever. And especially when you come, you know, to whether it's, you know, a retail store, a restaurant, hotel, mechanic shop, whatever, you know, it's it all boils down to cutting costs. They want to be able to put that money back in their pocket. And how's the best way to do that? Well, let's run some numbers. Right. You know?
Exactly.
So, and they don't realize, I mean, I say this once a week, I swear, sometimes 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I'll run some numbers with some people and it's like, how the hell are you still in business?
Right.
How long have you been doing?
Yeah.
You've never run these numbers.
Yeah, they don't slow down and do it.
They don't.
Yeah.
They just, you know, they become robotic to their business and they're just doing what they need to do to run, you know, run that business. So we come in as, you know, hired staff, kind of, sort of. We're paying ourselves through, you know, their account.
Good way to look at
But we become part of their business almost as an employee.
Right.
You know, to make sure that they're doing everything they can and taking advantage of our experience to help them be more successful in making those numbers where they want them to be. And I think it's real important that is explained to them right out of the get-go. You know, you are good at being a cook. You're good at being the business owner. You're good at, you know, drink it. Fireball.
Fireball. There you go.
And I'm an expert at what I do.
Yeah.
So let me be who I can be my best at in your business.
Right.
So that way we can make this work for you. You know, and your employees, whether it's a point of sale, whether you know, and I don't run from anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a challenge.
Yeah.
Love a challenge. And I don't know if Jeannie and everybody else, you know, is like, oh gosh, here she goes again. She got another project going.
Yeah, it's
you know,
awesome,
it's like
it's
gateway after gateway. Do we integrate? I mean, you know, I think one of my biggest ones was also the country club.
Oh yeah.
That was almost like 6 months of trying to get them going, and they'll never leave. You know, but it took the team at Pay Compass to really make that happen because we had integration after integration after integration because there was 2 locations. There was a golf shop. There was catering. There was the bar. It was just all over the place.
I love that.
And so when they don't understand how, not just the numbers, but how does this come together, they think it's just like flipping a switch. You know, it just happens like overnight. And
just
no.
press a couple buttons. That's it.
Let me sign. Okay, now we'll go live tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
And so knowing your business all the way around too, you know, is not just the numbers, but knowing how to make those numbers happen. That's another thing.
Enough on the boring stuff of business. I want to talk about Mary a little bit, right? Because, you know, you are just absolutely unique to me. And anyone watching this podcast right now, if they're watching this on the video, is going to be like shocked by this next thing, is that you drive race cars, right? Yeah. Let's dive into that. I love that part of who you are. I mean, you know, you've got the long hair, the makeup, you know, beautiful nails, all done up, everything like that, and then you're sliding into a race car going out there beating the shit out of guys left and right, and I love that. Let's talk, how did you get into that? Like, what is that, you know, where did that come from? Because, I mean, we were just there for the, you know, we've gone and watched you guys race a couple times, and we've spent time in Abilene hanging out with you and your family and being a part of that. And I love the community, right? There's definitely a community there of that. How did you get into that?
By accident.
Okay, of course.
My husband likes to do everything together.
Okay.
Everything together.
All right, yeah.
So we have to make sure that we race together also. So it was just a simple class called the Powder Puff Race.
Okay.
And it's a girl gets in, you know, your husband's boyfriend's car, and you get in and you race their car at the end of the night. And it was all girls.
Okay.
All girls. And it took off ever since. I want my own race car.
Yeah.
I want my own race car.
You got hooked on that.
Got
right?
hooked.
Okay.
And I found also that I loved how our kids get together. I mean, our babies were itty bitty, when they started racing with us. And I could keep an eye on the kids, and knowing that little community, like you met, everybody knows everybody there.
Yep.
And you could just let your kids run amok, and everybody knows everybody. Everybody's watching everybody. Everybody's taking care of everybody. And I love that. Yeah. Rather than them be in the streets.
Amen.
Not knowing where they're going to be at. Yep. And they're actually learning something with their hands. They're learning something with their minds. They're building themselves out to be, whether they'll use it later on or whatever. But I loved how it made me feel that it was very comfortable knowing that my family's right there doing it together. It's like everybody is there.
Yep.
And I love that more than anything.
Yep.
And I get emotional talking about it.
That's good. Go ahead. It's okay.
So just knowing that they're there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it, right? Is that, and that's what I expected you to say, because that's what I saw as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been there a couple times, and this most recent time, I really saw the family comes together. Everybody's there to support each other, but it's more than just your immediate family, right? Yeah. Your kids are there, and you're right.
Friends are there.
If they go running off into someone else's pits, like, they know that's the Hogue's kid or whatever,
yeah.
right? They know who everybody is. Hey, you want a snack? You want something? They're gonna keep an eye on them, right? And everybody's got each other's backs. I can see that, but also there's that everyone's there together to support each other as a family. Yeah. Everybody's rolling up their sleeves. They need to help out, you know, whatever. It's all there together. And
it's like a giant family. And we travel together too.
Yeah.
We go to racetrack, and everybody is just so big on helping each other out.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
Yeah.
That is so rare to go, I don't know how it is at the golf course, and I don't know how it is, at, whatever sporting events there is. But it's just that feeling of belonging and being able to do that for so long. I mean, we've done 30 years now,
Wow.
And I love that everybody, since we were, we got into it, it was how he did that was we started it with a friend of ours that had his own race car at the time at the dirt track. And we were, I think we were at Danny's shop.
Okay.
And it was a late model car, and he asked Danny if he wanted to, take it for a spin. And sure enough, Danny gets in it, and I'm like laying on the side, like belly, holding on bars, and Danny takes off, and Danny was bit from that point on. It was like amazing. It was an amazing experience, and
the adrenaline of it.
The
all,
adrenaline,
right?
it was just amazing. And
awesome.
So we started that. That was the day that we knew, we were going to get a race car. And after that, I just went from class to class to class to class to where now Danny and I are racing the same class side by side. There's no marriage when it's on the racetrack. No marriage at all.
I've witnessed that. I get it.
Yeah, and so it's just anything and everything that's fun, adrenaline driven.
Yeah.
Because we own Harleys. I love my Harley.
That's right.
I ride a
That's
Harley. We have boats.
Yeah.
We love the boats.
Yeah.
We do what they call the Buffalo Run, and it's a nonprofit organization where we have a station wagon. I don't know what year it is, but we have a really cool station wagon, old station wagon, that we do a 1,700 mile journey, and whoever gets back
all these
quickest,
wacky challenges you have to do along the way.
It's crazy. So anything that's adrenaline driven and a lot of fun, kids can get involved. Anybody can get involved, but it's just more or less just being able to just live this life the best way you could possibly. I mean, get as much as you can out of it, because that's what it was given to you for, right? To enjoy it, to enjoy it. And, doing what I'm doing, I've been able to do that successfully. If I want to go punch a clock today, great. If I don't for 3 months, I don't have to,
Exactly.
But me personally, it's just something that I've been blessed, with a wonderful husband who is the smartest man I think I've ever met,
He's amazing.
He's stupid a lot of times. Don't get me wrong, but he's
smart for marrying you.
That was the best thing he could have ever done, right? But
I got one last
Sure.
question for you, and it's okay if this can get emotional. It's okay.
Okay.
All right. But what behind all this passion, right? And that's what I think the underlying description of Mary Hogue is to me is passion and energy, right? That whether it's in your career, whether it's family, whether it's on the racetrack, it's whatever you do, even remodeling your house, right? Everything is just this passion and this energy behind it, and I love that. What is the fuel behind that for you? What is it that drives you? What is the motivation? Is it I think I know the answer for you. I think it's your family, right? Family's a big thing for you.
Yeah.
And is that a family ties into everything you do, right? It is. Yeah, I mean,
it's what drives me. It's the purpose.
Right.
It's the purpose for everything that I do.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
mean, there's there's a time and place, where you actually have to ask yourself, what is your purpose?
Right.
What drives you? What makes you you? And a lot of people, I when I hear them answer these questions, it's like sometimes materialistic or sometimes, just lost.
Right.
But I've accepted the fact, that it's my family that drives me.
Amen. Yeah, I love it.
And I do everything for them. I want to help them in everything that they do in school, jobs, buying a home, even all the way down to the little bitty, they're sick or they need advice or they just want to talk or just be present, just be in their lives.
Family comes first, right?
Everything.
Even if you were just, all materialistic things were gone, we're just like living in a tent, right? Together.
Yeah.
As long as we're together,
as long as we're together,
each other, it's all that matters, right? Yeah.
Because I'm surrounded by it, I mean, that's what makes me me.
I love
is them.
I love it.
Yeah, and God has blessed me so many times, with 8 grandbabies.
Yeah.
And, wonderful husband, beautiful home.
Yeah.
And most, like pay compass.
Yeah, I appreciate
Man,
that. I appreciate that.
that's
Thank
the
you.
icing on the cake
I
right there.
appreciate
And
that.
beautiful people. Another family in Arizona.
Amen.
It's like we're surrounded with family everywhere we go.
I appreciate
And that's
that.
just something that not everybody can say, are as blessed as we are.
I appreciate that. Well, Mary, thanks for being here today. I appreciate you taking the time to tell your story. And I know it sometimes doesn't feel like, but believe me, this inspires so many other people out there. So
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us for another episode of the Agent First podcast. We'll see you next time.